in liberating strife.
Baseball, America's pastime, a game of wonderment, joy, and skill, a game as American as can be, which we all grew up knowing and loving. But how did baseball get so famous that everyone in America knows at least the closest team to them? To me, it was the development of broadcasting.
America!
It all started on August 5th, 1921, with Harold Arlene and KDKA radio station, the nation's first commercial radio station at Forbes Field for a game between the Pirates and the Phillies. This was the first crucial turning point in the development of broadcasting. However, the games were not broadcasted like they are nowadays, directly from the field, I mean. The radio company would have a reporter at the field telegraph important info and events to the announcer, who would then decipher and announce it to the listening crowd. These telegraphs could be sent all across the coast to different radio stations, and often were. Numerous sources at KDKA were cited saying that the announcing of baseball would go nowhere because it was too boring. Boy, were they in for a surprise. The majority of team owners didn't want their home games broadcasted because they believed it would encourage people to stay home. But instead, it heightened interest in baseball and the attendance at games.
The crowd in Yankee Stadium for the final game of the year is here to cheer, not...
However, it took some teams like the Yankees till 1938 to finally accept radio broadcasts at their games. The Great Depression greatly hurt the radio business because the plummeting ticket sales at home games resulted in bans on radio broadcasts making people attend the games. Little do they know, radio announcing would have enough popularity to keep it relevant until this day and age. Radio couldn't remain top dog forever though. There was a new contender to fight with. Television became popular in the 30s. Only a couple of years after the radio boom, television allowed kids to see the heroes they always heard about. This was another crucial turning point in the spreading of baseball across the country. Even though television had outstanding potential, it took it a while to reach its peak.
Television, the baby of the radio family, is creating openings for experienced engineers, most of whom are graduating from radio work. From the scene of action, cameramen televise events which you may see in your own home, if, of course, you have a television receiver.
Now that television had its roots, it had nowhere to go but up, and that's what it did. Between 1964 and 1987, television revenue grew 450%, and players' salaries went up 675%. TV allowed for wider recognition of baseball, which caused more famous players with larger salaries. In 2003, it was even reported that 50% of baseball's revenue was from national and local broadcasting. But so what? What does a bunch of strong men swinging sticks at balls have to do with anything? It's a lot more than most people would think. Baseball is the glue that has held our country together. Why did it hold our country together, though? Nationalism. The pure feeling of being American that baseball gives an individual. Between the beer, entertainment, and the flag flying high in the sky, one cannot revel in the fact that being American is perfect. Baseball gives a family a place to enjoy themselves on a sunny summer day and watches their favorite player smashes another home run deep into the crowd, and deep down they know this can only be found in America, which makes them love the country that they live in. And when you love something, you're willing to pick up a gun and fight for it. That's why there was an influx of applications to the Army during the greatest period of baseball, the 1920s through the 1980s. How much of this love for our country is natural and not imposed upon us through the game, though? For example, take a look at this next clip. It's not a baseball game, but it's the best possible example of pure imposed but beautiful nationalism I could find. This clip was filmed on 9/11/2011 as a tribute to those who died. You know that feeling you just felt deep in your chest? That's pride and love. The same feeling you get when you sing the national anthem before every baseball game. This feeling, though, isn't natural. It's felt through traditions that Americans have carried for years and was created by Americans in 1918. However, the Star-Spangled Banner isn't the only imposed form of nationalism. There are many other forms, like F-16s or B-2s flying over the field. F-16s cost up to $44,000 per hour to fly, and there's usually 4 of them, so it can cost up to $176,000 to get to the field, and the same back. Who's footing the bill for this? The government. But why? The government figures that if we as a country are unified through acts of nationalism at baseball games, that we'll be more prone to fight for our country. A bold statement, I know. So here's an example. If you love someone, you would do anything in your power to protect them. But if you hate someone, you wouldn't mind if they disappeared from your life. The same goes for your country. When a little kid sees a soldier throwing the first pitch at a baseball game, or a bunch of them lined up along the first baseline, he wants to be down there with them and meet the players, which subliminally makes him want to be a soldier. The government knows this, and that is why you will quite often see this at baseball games. Being American is almost forced upon the viewer of any baseball game between the government pushing it into the games and the traditions that we carry on, like singing the national anthem before every game and the Star-Spangled Banner on every 7th inning stretch. And lastly, the pure Americanness of the sport really makes it feel as though being anything but American at a baseball game is wrong. The last, and probably the most influential act in baseball that caused nationalism was notable players going to fight in the war. In this clip, you will see Ted Williamson, possibly the best batter of all time, playing baseball. In 1942, in the height of his career, Ted Williamson joined the Navy and became a naval fighter pilot until 1946, and then flew several tours in Korea in 1952. Imagine if your hero was brave enough to go to war. Would it make you want to follow him or her? For thousands of kids who saw him as an idol, it did.
And every hitter that ever mounted anything, I would ask him, what do I got to do to become a great hitter?
An equally, if not more influential player on the American public was Jackie Robinson, the first ever African-American baseball player in the Major League, and an idol of almost every African-American child of his era. He fought in World War II, before he began his baseball career. And like I said earlier, if someone you look up to does something courageous, you want to match it. You want to justify to yourself that you're equally as courageous as your idol. Willie Mays, much like Jackie Robinson, had an extreme influence on the African-American public and even the white American public because of his perfection as an outfielder. After his rookie year, when he received Rookie of the Year, Mays was drafted to the Army for a year and a half and came back and during an interview stated that he felt better at baseball after his time in the Army. Now imagine you're a young, aspiring baseball athlete who just heard from possibly the best overall player of all time that he felt like his time in the Army improved his baseball abilities. Personally, it makes me want to join. In conclusion, baseball creates nationalistic feelings through 3 methods: the natural Americanness of the game, the government's imposition of nationalism, and lastly, star athletes joining the Army. However, baseball never would become relevant enough for any of this to matter without the development of broadcasting equipment. That is all. Thank you for watching my video.